What's up, guys? Just wanted to make a quick video talking about tuning and tools, tuning. I know it's not necessarily feasible for everyone to do, but if you are having bunches and bunches of issues with your nitro and tuning, one of the things you could do is set you up a little station, just get you like a T-Max mount. I got here a tank, and just mount your motor down and give it fuel. This I built originally as a prototype to have a tuning station, since I do have so many nitros and I deal with so many nitros and fix so many nitros. I like to have a tuning station. I like to pre-tune my motors before I actually put them on. So I built this here. It has its own harness. I use the Gen 1 Easy Start starter, Revo tank, T-Max mount. It's got a random pipe that stays on there. And this is for a servo, because I'm eventually going to put a servo in a radio so it could be remote controlled by electronics instead of just by hand. But the way I started it was just like a piece of wire, hook it on the carb. That's how I'd actuate it. And I would sit and make little adjustments, and rev that thing up, and just get it up into that high RPM so I can make sure I was burning all the fuel and getting the right response overall. Now, I know that this necessarily isn't practical for everybody to take off their motor and pre-tune it or tune it and get it close, but I'll tell you what, it'll save you a lot of time and a lot of heartache, especially when you got your car out there and you got to go chase your car down because it dies or whatever. You know it could be a pain in the butt when you're trying to tune your motor and you're having a bit of issues. So, just a suggestion. And like I'd mentioned in my other video, get you a good long screwdriver so you can tune with. And if you just set those carbs, like I said, factory settings, and go from there. Try to leave your low speed alone. Always set your high speed first. Get your high speed and your overall run high RPM good. If you need to get a little more out of your low speed, adjust your low speed a little bit. It's a great tool to have. I thoroughly enjoy it. Like I said, I'm in the middle of doing a little revision on it, but your idle gap on your carburetors, standard big paper clip, that'll get you either there or real close too. So, food for thought. I'll try and post some of the footage of Traxxas' tuning guide. I actually have their nitro tuning guide and setup DVD. I don't know if you all have ever seen that, but I have that. It's a little old school, but has the same basic premise and explanation overall. But yeah, just get you a whatever tank and a T-Max mount, a T-Max motor mount. It's real basic. It'll fit any 3.3 on there, 2.5, 2.5R, 0.15, whatever you're working on. Put it on a piece of wood. That's how I did it when I first started doing nitro and wanted to get the tuning closer on my nitros. I just had a 2x4 that I strapped at that time a broken T-Max mount to, and I just went from there. That's when I first started learning how to tune and setting up these motors. But yeah, it's a really good tool, especially if you're having a hard time. Saves you from having to go and chase down your car, your truck, whatever it is that you're working on, and bringing it back and changing it. Just have it right there, right in front of you. And for the most part, you can tune them on this thing and have them tuned perfectly to get your car just a ripping. I really strongly advise that you use OEM carburetors. Then ones from Amazon, they are terrible. They're terrible. And the place that I buy all my parts from, like I said, Jenny's RC Online, they literally sell OEM carbs with factory settings already set for pretty much the same price you're going to get an OEM or a aftermarket off of Amazon. So it's up to you. I prefer OEM. I've tried the aftermarkets. I've run the aftermarkets. I've had a couple, be good for a little while, but they all eventually crap out in the same form. It becomes a tuning, won't hold the tune. And for visual comparison, this is a low hour crank from a 3.3. This had just barely been broke in and had, I don't know, 5 tanks, 6 tanks after break-in, so not a lot. And I was running one of those carbs off of Amazon with an inconsistent running tune, and there you go. Blew up the whole thing. I got the I don't know how well you can see it, but I'll have to find the rest of them too. You can see the markings in the crank. Wasn't consistent on the lubrication. Wasn't consistent on the tune. It's an aftermarket carb. And yeah, it didn't allow for it to stay consistent and lubed, and unfortunately it tore it up and blew a hole in the crank. So I will no longer ever try one of those. Ever. I do not have faith in them. I do not trust them. And I'm not saying that you won't have issues with OEM, but you'll have less chance of having issues with the OEM than you will the aftermarket. The OEM stay true longer. They hold a tune. And remember, guys, if you can't hold a tune, no matter what the temperature is outside, winter, summer, there's something wrong. There's something wrong, and you want to dig into it. Check all your O-rings. Check all your seals. Check your back plate. Make sure you're not leaking fuel or leaking anything from anywhere. Dig into it. Alright, well, that's going to do it for this one. Hope y'all have a good night. Stay safe. Till next time.